Welcome to the 45th Annual Members Juried Art Exhibition. My name is Tricia Heuring and I am this year's juror. I am a Minneapolis-based curator, arts organizer, and educator. I'm also the co-founder of Public Functionary, which is a Northeast Minneapolis-based arts organization that supports early career and emerging artists in developing studio practice and exhibitions and economic development opportunities. It was an absolute pleasure to jury this year's exhibition. I'm always a fan of member exhibitions because you really get to see sort of the community around a space and the works that they're creating, the things that they're thinking about. There was a diverse range of mediums and approaches to subject matter, and it was a really special year with the pandemic and everything that we've been going through to be able to see what artists have been creating in this time and what they feel they want to share with the world. So I thank you for the opportunity to spend time with your works and to select a few to highlight as great examples of works that moved me. I'd like to present the awards for this year's exhibition, and we will start with the honorable mentions. The honorable mentions receive a gift card from Wet Paint or Wholesale Art and Framing. So the first work is No Jumping by Raymond Klemka. This photograph stood out to me right away because there's so much tension in the piece. I really appreciate the movement that's happening as this person's body is about to jump into the water, the sign that says no jumping from the bridge in contrast to that, and just the recognizable Twin Cities summer vibe. So I felt like this piece just really brought out an energy and does a really good job of presenting the tension of a particular moment. The second honorable mention is Neighbors by Lecker. I really appreciate this oil on canvas piece because it really captures the mundane, and I have an appreciation for pieces that are able to capture our everyday. I think that if it was hanging on a wall, you would feel like you were really gazing out of your window. And I think that the light and color choices are rendered very beautifully. The third honorable mention is Garden Party by Heidi Nelson. And I think this watercolor does a really great job of positioning the viewer. As a viewer of the piece, you're very aware of where you are in this scene because of the perspective of the lights. I also think it has a certain familiarity of a backyard party or event and a family gathering. I appreciate the choice of the one figure sort of looking back at you, but not directly. So I think overall, just in terms of the gaze and the position and the way that the watercolor has been executed, it's a very successful piece. Our last honorable mention is 5x5 Frames 1 by Beth Dorsey. This piece really stood out to me in terms of the entire show, just because I felt like it was doing something unique. It takes on different subject matter and utilizes sort of an everyday material to create a different landscape or a different sort of experience for the viewer. I appreciate the color application as well as the technical execution of the piece. Overall, it's a piece that I couldn't stop looking at and wondering about and thinking about the artist's process as well as what they are hoping that the viewer walks away with after spending time with it. The next category for awards is the Merit Awards, and the Merit Award winners receive a $150 check. The first Merit Award goes to Lynette Black, and the title is Our Lady of Camellias. I appreciate this piece for the color and the movement, as well as the mix of mediums. When I look at this piece, I'm aware of just the different choices that the artist was making as they went through the process of creating it. I appreciate that they seem to be working towards their own unique language through color and shape and kind of changing our expectation of the frame and the grid. Overall, I think it's a really beautiful piece. The next merit award is to Carrie Price Short for Morning in the Dining Room. I happen to appreciate very small art pieces that take up more space than they physically do, and I feel like this is actually a really big piece because of the color and the perspective in the work. It's really successfully rendered in terms of the perspective of the room, the color choices, the sort of offness of the space, so much so that it keeps you looking into it and thinking about what the story might be. I just feel like looking at this piece brings me a lot of happiness, and so I continue to be drawn to it. The third merit award is for Lining Up by Tom Hessel, and it's a silver point drawing, and I think it's a great example of technical skill and practice. It's beautifully done. Subject matter-wise, there's this sort of closeness and sense of time with the masks. You know that this happened during the pandemic. I think that there's underlying social commentary in the piece that's worth considering and thinking about, and the overall success of the piece really allows you to think about the deeper meaning. It's a really stunning silver point drawing. Our last merit award is to Spirit by Sherry Albers, and I think that this piece is just really interesting subject matter-wise. I appreciate the text incorporated with the drawing. To be able to pull that off in a way that is so intentional and really adds to the narrative is quite impressive. I also just feel that the emotion it captures and the way in which it brings you into the subject's moment and what they're feeling. It's a piece that is really successful at sort of bringing out empathy in the viewer, and it makes me want to see more work from this artist. And so I think that's really brilliant. Next is the Excellence in 3D Award, and this award winner will receive a $300 check. So for this Excellence in 3D Award, I've chosen TB14B by Alex Chin. I was really drawn to this sculptural piece just because of its sort of quietness. I love the idea of a small scale structure that I can imagine full scale. I appreciate the ability to see through the piece, but then also in contrast to that, to be able to stand on another side and feel like it is a solid whole. I think that it's crafted beautifully, and I appreciate the molding of clay into a piece that feels so solid and stone-like. The next award is the Excellence in 2D Award, and this awardee will also receive a $300 check. The award goes to Pandemic Clouds by Pamela Carberry. It's a linocut and graphite, and I particularly appreciated the graphite on this piece, the way that it's rendered over the linocut, and it's a stunning piece to look at and lose yourself in. I also was struck by the title of the piece being Pandemic Clouds, sort of marking it in a particular time. There's been a lot of thought in the last 2-ish years about being in a sort of other world, about being in a moment of a portal that brings us to another world, and I felt like this piece just really captured that sense of the world we're going into, the world we've been in the past, and so it's just a great example of a beautifully executed work with a really perfect title. The final award is the Best in Show Award, and this awardee receives a $600 check. The winner of this award is Getting Pampered by Peter Wong. This photograph is just full of joy. It captures a really special moment, and it feels particularly well composed. The lighting is beautiful, the color is beautiful, and I really appreciate the narrative, the cultural representation, and the way in which it's done through a lens that feels incredibly authentic, as well as joyful and positive, which is something we all need in this time. So congratulations to Peter Wong.